It's day 9 of our 10-day wellness series. We're almost at the end of it. I'm Marie-Komisarek. So today I wanted to talk to you about one of the most important factors. I think it's really the top factor of our own health, well-being, and happiness. And that factor, or that thing, is stress and stress management. I think it's something that we don't all deal with in the same way. We all deal with it absolutely on a day-to-day basis, no matter what our lifestyles or work is. There's really no getting around it for the most part. So it's so important to make time for stress management in the moment and sort of preventatively as well. And one of my favorite practices is breath or meditation. And although a lot of people are still new to meditation, or they've tried it and they just can't focus and their mind just wanders, I wanted to share with you a really quick breathing exercise that is inspired by Ayurveda yet again. And it's alternate nostril breathing. So it'll just take a couple minutes of your time. So if you need to press pause and come back to this video later, that's fine. But I just wanted to share it with you in person. So you take I usually use my pinky and my thumb just because it's easier. But Ayurvedically, you use these two fingers together and your thumb. But I'm just going to go with pinky. Okay, so whatever's most comfortable for you. So you're going to block your right nostril and breathe in with the left. So closing off your left nostril with your pinky, exhaling with the right nostril. Breathing in with the right, closing it off, exhaling with the left. Again, inhaling, exhaling. Give it a whirl while we're doing this together. Close your eyes if you like. What's really great about this is that you are able to focus on the little job of closing and opening your nasal passages. So it aids in the meditation process of giving your mind a tool to focus on, or a movement to focus on. Couple more times. Taking an inhale now through both nostrils and exhaling through both nostrils and opening your eyes. So the benefit for this meditation or this practice, this breath work, is obviously you're just breathing, and breathing, as we mentioned, I think it was yesterday, calms your entire body down, sends the signals to your nervous system that all is well, and your whole body can just function as normal. But it also focuses in on the right and left sides of our brain, and that's often it's also because we really only predominantly use one nostril every half hour or so. So you can kind of feel it now if you just take a minute and just kind of, or maybe you noticed it with that exercise, that one nasal passage was a lot more clear and open than the other. That could either be because maybe you have the sniffles, but it's also because our nasal passages swap every half hour. So again, one predominates the other throughout the day. So when we're forcing breath, not forcing, but when we're breathing intentionally through both sides, we help to balance out both sides of our body mentally, but also energetically as well. And it's more thorough, more conscious, more mindful way of breathing, even if it's just for a couple minutes like we did. And that's a great way to start and end your day. And again, I love using the tool of, the alternating the nostrils, because it gives your mind something to focus on. Like, oh, okay, I have to swap to the next side, the next side. And of course, the more you practice it, the more your mind will wander a little bit again. But the breath is something to just bring it back to. And it's not about beating yourself up like, man, I can't stop thinking about the list of things I have to do. It's okay. Just bring it back to whatever kind of breath work you're doing. And breathing, again, even if it's just for 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes at night, it's huge because we don't have to think about it. Breath happens whether we, do it with intention or not. And often we're not good breathers, especially when we're stressed. We hold our breath. We breathe shallowly. Sometimes we really don't breathe very well at all. So anytime we can think about breathing, whether it's waiting in line at the grocery store or at the bank and you're getting kind of frustrated because you're in a rush, just take a minute and breathe. And really trying to fill up your lower belly, not just breathing from the rib cage, but your entire torso. It's so important. It's so huge. There are lots of other ways to deal with stress relief, and I'm going to share some of my favorite flower essences. If you don't know what flower essences, we'll talk about them a little bit more in the email. Aromatherapy, again, not only just for the massaging of the feet at night, but also for day-to-day, just stress relief. And then, of course, I'm going to add a couple more variations of breath work and meditation for you to dabble in if you so choose, because I really think it can do so much for us, and it's so important to make time for just releasing the stress and, of course, dealing with it when it's happening. You know, not to stuff it away, but really help to manage whatever stress it might be. You know, it's different for all of us, but to not ignore it, because that is where illness begins. That sort of connection to stress, the mental emotion that stems from the stress, and then physically how our body responds to that stress. I love the story that Deepak Chopra shared at one of his 21-day meditations that he does for free every few months, which you should check out, by the way. And he talks about how powerful the mind is and how our body responds. And he shared a story about you know, someone wandering through the woods and seeing this big, massive snake, like huge snake going through their path. And the person who is does not like snakes, is terrified of snakes, freaks out, their body responds, they start sweating, their heart starts beating, and they go into panic mode. That's how the mind receives, oh, snake, we don't like snakes, body responds. And then he backs it up and he says, another person's going for a walk through the woods, and this huge, massive snake comes through, and they love snakes, and they're just like, oh my God, look at this beautiful creature, and they just, their heart starts fluttering, and they get, you know, almost like lightheaded from excitement, and just like, oh my gosh, goosebumps, like this is amazing that I get to see this creature. And that's just from a thought, from seeing something, responding to the experience, and then the physical body responds to it. So think about that, because that is a really amazing example of how we experience everything and how we process it in our minds and then in our physical bodies. So I think a lot of that weighs on our entire well-being. I really, truly do, from practice and experience on my own. So I look forward to talking to you one last day to wrap all of us up tomorrow. Take a peek at the rest of the email for other stress management support, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.